What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the It's Showtime podcast, hosted by me, TCT. And man, I have not done one of these in a long time, and I do apologize for that, but there's really not been much I've wanted to talk about, and it's been really hectic this month. So welcome back to episode 12 of the It's Showtime podcast. I'm doing this in no format. It's not going to be weekly anymore. It's going to be when I want to speak. All right. And some things happened this weekend, mostly at Disney, that I want to talk about. Today, I am going to focus on the Star Wars aspect of what happened at Disney. We got some major announcements for Lucasfilms and Star Wars over the weekend. And I'm just going to pull them up here. Definitely got a huge major announcement that they're going to be adding some TV shows, some movies. And they're going to be adding a bunch of different characters, different takes on the Star Wars world. Let me pull up the future projects here and see what we've got, the announcement. Okay, so the first thing I see is the announcement of Star Wars Rogue Squadron. The next Star Wars feature film will be Rogue Squadron, directed by Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins. The story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives in a boundary-pushing, high-speed thrill ride and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy. So basically, I'm wondering if this is outside of what we saw with the Resistance. I'm assuming it's the new order of things. This is going to be a brand new way of going out of the Skywalker saga and pushing into whatever trilogy they want to come after. So it'd be after all the Rey and Kylo Ren stuff. Not to mention, I've been watching the sequels again lately. Every time you watch them, they get a little bit better. There's still a lot of problems with them, but I still absolutely love Force Awakens, and I don't hate Rise of Skywalker. But The Last Jedi still has some issues with me. It just wasn't great. It wasn't great. It had some good moments, but it wasn't great. But I'm super excited, especially Patty Jenkins, who is doing great with the Wonder Woman series. Wonder Woman, which will be coming out Christmas Day this month. So hopefully I can see that and give you guys a review on it. As soon as I watch it, I'm definitely going to do a review. I need to get back into movie reviews just to do something, to get my channel back in business the way I want it to go. Yes, I do have other jobs, so the fact that I'm doing it, well. But then we have an announcement of a brand new Taika Waititi film. For those of you who don't know who he is really fresh into the television series. And it says, a brand new Star Wars feature with the acclaimed filmmaker and Academy Award winner Taika Waititi is in development. His approach to Star Wars will be fresh, unexpected, and unique. His enormous talent and sense of humor will ensure that audiences are for an unforgettable ride. So definitely excited to see what he's going to do. He is a fantastic director. So the fact that it's unknown, it gives me hope. It gives me hope. Disney's not done too great with the film, so I'm hoping they can land some really good ones. The TV shows are absolutely incredible, though. The Mandalorian, oh man, seeing my favorite character in Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano, was incredible. Rosario Dawson, you did the best job that I've seen, in any Star Wars. You played that character to perfection. And we have more to talk about with Ahsoka in a few minutes, but I'm still going to scroll down the list here. Up next, the next announcement will be what we've been expecting for the last few months. It is Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this is a big moment here because for those of you who don't want to know anything about this, I encourage you to skip ahead in the podcast. But there is a big announcement that was made for this show that I'm going to read here. It says, last August at the D23 Expo, Lucasfilm announced the return of Ewan McGregor as the iconic role of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi for a special event series on Disney+. So basically it's a one and done type of deal. It's officially titled Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the series begins 10 years after the dramatic events of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, where he faced his greatest defeat, the downfall and corruption of his best friend and Jedi apprentice Anakin Skywalker, who was turned into evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. The series is directed by Deborah Chow, who helmed memorable episodes of The Mandalorian Season 1. Yes, she did. It was very good. This will truly be a day long remembered, as was confirmed. Big spoiler here, guys, because it said they made the announcement. As it was confirmed that Hayden Christensen will be returning as Darth Vader. This will be the rematch of the century, Kennedy said. It was such an incredible journey playing Anakin Skywalker, said Christensen. Of course, Anakin and Obi-Wan weren't on the greatest of terms when we last saw them, and it will be interesting to see what an amazing director like Deborah Chow has in store for us all. So I'm excited to work with Ewan again, and it feels good to be back. So, big announcement. What in the world are they going to do with Hayden Christensen in the suit as Darth Vader? Because there's no way it's just going to be him. He's going to be in the suit. My take is we're going to see him with the helmet off a few times. And he's going to be a little bit younger and more faster. And I've always wondered when Obi-Wan in A New Hope tells Luke, well, not A New Hope, but it's Return of the Jedi, when he goes, he's more machine now than man. Well, how did Obi-Wan know that? You know, Anakin, he never saw him in the suit, so I'm curious. How did he know he was half machine? He could have just been in the suit. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how they play that. I'm incredibly excited. All right, now this is probably my favorite announcement. For those of you who don't know, my favorite Star Wars character of all time, ever since I was a kid, is Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars series, the Rebels series. She made a guest appearance this season in Season 2 of Mandalorian. She is the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. So here is the next announcement. After making her long-awaited live-action debut in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano's story, written by Dave Filoni, will continue in a limited series starring Rosario Dawson and executive produced by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. That is the best news I've ever heard, because if anyone can make sure this show succeeds, it's those two. They are the saviors of Star Wars. They've always been. How they've not been able to do a movie, I don't know. But she was incredible. And for those of you who've not seen Rebels, I encourage you to skip ahead a little bit because I'm about to talk about something very big. She was looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Mandalorian episode she was in, which is because she's in search of Ezra Bridger. And for those of you who don't know what happened at the end of Rebels, he and Thrawn disappeared. You know, as Bridger was trying to stop Thrawn. So they both disappeared into basically a black hole. So finding Thrawn, you find Ezra Bridger, in which I still think he's going to be the Jedi. And I'm making the prediction now, he's going to be the Jedi that Grogu, Baby Yoda, calls out to. I still think it's going to be him. Could be someone else, but I think it's going to be him. He's the only Jedi I can think of. But yeah, Ahsoka, that's going to be an incredible series. Like I said, my favorite character. I'm really curious to see where they go with it. I'm also scared because I know in Rise of Skywalker, Rey hears her in the Force at the end of the movie, because I just watched that recently. So that means she's dead at that time, which means she could meet her end at the hands of Grand Admiral Thrawn, or meet her end by some other means in this television series. her story has not been wrapped up. We need to know what happens to Ahsoka Tano after the incredible journey she's been on. That character, to me, has saved Star Wars because of all the bashing of the films. Fans relate it to a character that was not in the films, it was in the cartoons, the television shows. And for those of you who have not seen, they're like, well, they're cartoons. No, they're not. They are great stories in animated form. That's all. They do have some cartoon aspects because they were made for children to begin with. But once they seen adults were watching it, they started throwing some heavy and deep storylines into them. And I mean heavy. I mean, they are some tear jerkers at some points. So I encourage you all to watch it. But moving on from Ahsoka, the next announcement, and this is one I'm really excited for. It's going to take place in the timeline of The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. It is Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic. Set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, this new live-action series from executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will intersect with future stories and culminate into a climactic story event. So basically, Rangers of the New Republic, if you don't know what they are the order that take over from the Empire for the Republic. That basically, when you're watching Mandalorian, you see Cara Dune is now a Ranger of the New Republic. So this is basically their story. This is their fighting. They're trying to rid the galaxy of the Empire once and for all, because once the Emperor and Vader are defeated, that doesn't necessarily mean the Empire goes away, and we're seeing that in The Mandalorian. The Empire's still around. They're just broken up. So you need the Rangers to get rid of the Empire. So that's one story I'm excited to see, is how do they finally rid the world of the Empire, and how does it start the rise of the First Order? You know, because the rise of the First Order is way after Ben Solo becomes Kylo Ren. So I wonder if that leads into that a little bit. I'm curious. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, don't steer me wrong. Please, this is a good chance. The next announcement is one that I'm excited for. I don't know whether it's going to be which character it's going to be, but I'll just make the announcement. Everyone's favorite scoundrel, Lando Calrissian, will return in a brand new event series for Disney Plus called Lando. Justin Simeon, creator of the critically acclaimed Dear White People and a huge Star Wars fan, is developing the story. Now, we don't know anything else about this. We don't know whether it's going to be Billy D. Williams coming back or it's going to be Donald Glover. Personally, I'd love to see them both. I'd love to see if it focuses around Billy D. Williams, we can have Donald Glover in some flashbacks, like, you know, as a young, you know, it could be one of those where we're following Billy D through a story, but as the story progresses, we have to flash back to what he did in his youth. That would be a great series for me if they did that. I'd love to see Billy D. I love seeing him in Rise of Skywalker. I'd love to see Billy D play Lando again for the final time. And I love Donald Glover's portrayal. And to me, that is the best part of Solo, was seeing Donald Glover as Lando. That and the return of Maul. Everything else in Solo, I hate that movie. That movie was so boring and so full of hot garbage. And I feel bad because those actors are really good actors, especially Emilia Clarke. And she's been thrown into a lot of horrible movies since Game of Thrones. You know, Terminator for one. Like, come on. Like, this girl can act. Like, she is so good. She's beautiful. Please do something with her. Okay, let's move on. This is one I'm actually really, really, really excited for because of the character, and it's one of my favorite movies that's come out in the last few years. The next announcement is Star Wars Andor. Now, for those of you who don't know what Andor is, I'm about to explain it to you. Andor is a tense, nail-biting spy thriller created by Tony Gilroy. It's set to arrive on Disney Plus in 2022. Diego Luna reprising the role of rebel spy Cassian Andor from Rogue One will be joined by a fantastic new cast series that includes Stellan Skarsgård, Andrea Aronia, Fiona Shaw, Denise Goh, Kyle Sawyer, and Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. And that's a great casting right there. Production kicked off 3 weeks ago in London, which means it's being filmed right now. I'm excited because I absolutely love Rogue One. I love those characters in there. So for those of you who've not seen Rogue One, Cassian is the one who finds Jyn Erso and tells her that she needs to go to the Rebel Alliance for a mission. And then, she leads them into stealing the plans for the Death Star. But he's the one that starts it all, that you see at the beginning of the movie with the beard and everything. And he meets his end on Scarif with Jyn. He's the one that dies with her at the end when they blow it up. But they succeed in their mission. So this takes place before all that. This shows how Cassian becomes the spy. This is his spy story about how he gets recruited and gets put into these situations in order to lead up to Rogue One. So I'm really curious to see this story. I'm excited to see this story. We're getting a lot of good stuff from Star Wars, so I'm very excited for that. Here's one that I didn't see coming. I'm excited for it as well, and I'm also really nervous because I don't know much about this era. So this one's called The Acolyte. Leslie Headland, Emmy Award nominated creator of the mind-bending series Russian Doll, which I have seen some of it. It's really good. Brings a new Star Wars series to Disney Plus with The Acolyte. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take the audience into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. What in the world are they going to do in the High Republic era? I wonder if we get to see the story of Darth Plagueis. That would be awesome. To me, that's pretty much the only way that they can go here. This shows the story of Darth Plagueis, and those Jedi before. It's set before the prequels. I mean, it's way before the prequels. Before we're even introduced to Obi-Wan, Anakin, Mace, Master Yoda might be there because he's 900 years old. So I don't know. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do. We don't know anything, so this is something we have to wait on. Moving on, I'm very excited for this one as it continues Star Wars The Clone Wars. This is Star Wars The Bad Batch. For those of you who don't know, that is Clone Force 99 that came out of the clone containment as a little bit odd, a little bit different. Basically special needs, but they're strange. They're rough, they're strange, they don't take order very well. And they're fun. They're very fun. It says the series follows the elite and experimental clones of the Bad Batch first introduced in Star Wars The Clone Wars as they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone War and Order 66. Members of the Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the clone army, each possess a singular exceptional skill which makes them extraordinary effective soldiers and a formidable crew. In the post-Clone War era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. The animated series will arrive exclusively on Disney Plus. There is no date on when it will arrive. There is a trailer. If you guys want to see it, it's on YouTube. And I think they have it on Disney Plus somewhere as a trailer. But it looks good. The same animation from Season 7 of the Clone Wars is there. It looks fantastic. So I cannot wait for that. And this basically wraps up the Clone Wars saga. So I'm very excited for that. Clone Wars Season 7 was absolutely incredible, especially the last 2 episodes. They were incredible. So let's move on. We have a couple more, not too many. This one completely blew me out of the water when I heard what this one was. My jaw dropped because many of you know that I do like Japanese anime. I like some of the stories, but the artwork, I'm really impressed with the artwork. So to hear this is Star Wars Visions, something that's never been done before. It says, presenting all new creative takes on the galaxy far, far away, Star Wars Visions will be a series of animated short films celebrating Star Wars through the lens of the world's best anime creators. The anthology collection will bring 10 fantastic visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios, offering a fresh and diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars. What in the world are they going to do? Basically, I go to what they did with the Animatrix. The Animatrix was a bunch of different stories in the Matrix that they did in Japanese form, and it was good. Basically, what you just saw, the Japanese anime Batman, it was a different story, but it was done in Japanese anime form. We're going to see a bunch of Star Wars stories created by these Japanese animators, and we don't know if they're going to be canon, but it's definitely going to be fun to watch. So I am super excited for that. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be weird and it's going to be fun. So look out for that. Okay, moving on. We have a droid story. Star Wars: A Droid Story. As Lucasfilm continues to develop new stories, the intersection of animation and visual effects offers new opportunities to explore Lucasfilm animation, and we'll be teaming up with Lucasfilm's visual effects team, Industrial Light and Magic, to develop a special Star Wars adventure for Disney Plus, A Droid Story. This epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by the legendary duo R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, for those of you that don't know, I love the droids, don't get me wrong, but I'm not a big fan of their stories. I'm great with the droids being add-ins to Star Wars, and they make, the character's life easier. I'm glad with them being side characters. I love C-3PO. He runs his mouth so much, but you can't help but love him because he's very lovable. R2-D2, the best droid in all the movies. Then you have BB-8, you have Dio, and then you have Chopper. Chopper's great. R4, Obi-Wan's droid. They're great little side characters, but hopefully this film can actually help the droids actually gain some steam into where people give them a little bit more respect. I want it to do that for me because I love the droids. I love what they are, what they stand for. You never underestimate a droid in the Star Wars world because they can save the day at any time. But they're not people. They're characters, they're side characters, but you rarely feel emotion. And when you do feel the emotion, it's usually funny emotion. And that's one thing that I don't grasp towards. But I'm excited to see what they try and what they do. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. So that's pretty much it for all the Star Wars announcements. Like I said, the one I'm most excited for, the two that I'm most excited for is Ahsoka and Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm really also excited to see Rogue Squadron, knowing that Patty Jenkins has a history with the fighter pilots of America. I have no idea what she's going to do, but I pray because we see some amazing fight scenes in Rogue One. In the sky. I want it to be something like that, man. I want it to be fast-paced, hard-hitting. Is it going to be based on the video game? Because I had the video game on N64. I played it. Rogue Squadron, you there? Rogue Squadron, we need some backup. So God knows what they're going to do. I mean, seriously, God knows what they're going to do. This is definitely exciting news. It's a very exciting weekend. For Disney during their investor day. Now, they have a bunch of Marvel stuff that's coming out. I have not been able to really look at all that yet. They've got a lot of announcements for the Marvel world. So once I look at that, I'll start talking about that a little bit. But man, oh man, I read the Star Wars stuff. I saw people's reactions to things, and I felt I had to do a video to talk about it. I'm super excited. I'm very excited for where they're going to go. And it's all a credit to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau for their incredible work on The Mandalorian. I've watched The Mandalorian every week. The Mandalorian is absolutely incredible. It gets a little repetitive at times, but it's not repetitive to where it's annoying. It's like, well, I'm glad it's repetitive because I get to see something different every week. It's a different repetitive. It's like basically the Mandalorian starts off with like, okay, I need to get to this place, but in order to get to this place, I got to perform a task. That's pretty much every episode. And then he gets to the place at the end of the episode, and then when he gets to that place, he's like, well, they direct him to this place, but in order to get there, he's got to perform another task. That's actually really good and really clever to keep you guessing about what's going to happen, what you're going to see. You know, Bill Burr was in this week's episode. Absolutely love Bill Burr. He did a great job at returning. You know, Ahsoka being in, you know, Rosario Dawson being in the couple episodes ago was fantastic. We finally learned Baby Yoda's name. It is Grogu. You know, it sounds a little bit too much like Goku from Dragon Ball Z, but I mean, come on. It's at least something we can call him now, Grogu. Oh man, we got to see Fennec. Fennec came back. She plays May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's basically Ming Wan, I think is her name. Great actress. And then man, my favorite, for those of you who don't want to know this, skip ahead because it's a spoiler. Tamora Morrison makes his grand return as Boba Fett. And man, was he bad in that episode that he made his return in with his armor. Whew! And he's teamed up with the Mandalorian, Cara Dune, Fennec. All of them are trying to save Baby Yoda from the Empire. So this is cool. Moff Gideon is, to me, he stands no chance. But he has the Darksaber. So, and the Night Owls are chasing him for the Darksaber. So I wonder if we're going to see Bo-Katan, who is played by Katie Sackhoff. That was a good introduction to Bo-Katan from Rebels and Clone Wars, played by Katie Sackhoff. And Sasha Banks made her cameo. She's one of the Night Owls. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm curious to see where they go from here. I really am. But I'm gonna do these podcasts, guys, whenever I can. It's not going to be in any order, any time zone. It'll randomly come out of nowhere, basically, because I have no schedule of when I can record these. Right now, I just so happen to have a free 30 minutes to talk. So I want to talk about it. So remember to like, subscribe, favorite. And if you guys have anything, and I mean anything, that you want me to talk about or discuss, leave it in the comments below, especially on my Facebook. Leave it in the comments below on YouTube. For those of you who know me, text me. Tell me what you want me to talk about. I'll definitely talk about some things if you want me to. There is movies coming out on HBO Max. I don't have HBO Max yet. I have a Roku box. I don't know why Roku is fighting HBO Max. It's ridiculous. But I'll watch them on my PlayStation if I have to. I'm definitely going to see Wonder Woman. I'm definitely watching that. I'm definitely going to watch when the Snyder Cut comes out. Warner Brothers announced that they're going to release Kong, Suicide Squad, all like Kong vs. Godzilla, Suicide Squad, all that. All the WB movies. The Matrix 4. Oh man, I have been waiting 10 years for that. No, not 10 years, 15 years. Matrix, remember the last Matrix came out in 2003, and I went and saw all of the Matrix in theaters, and I absolutely love them. For those of you who don't like the sequels, yeah, I understand. I understand exactly why you don't like the sequels. The first one's amazing, but Reloaded is one of my favorites. I wasn't too great on Revolutions, but I understand every story has to come to an end, and not many people really like the ending. So I'm excited to see The Matrix 4 and where they go with that, and how Keanu Reeves returns, because he's in it. I've seen him shooting on it. He's in there. So we have to see. I wonder if Lawrence Fishburne's back as Morpheus. Carrie Ann Moss might be back as Trinity. I don't know how. They're dead. So we'll see. But anyway, like, subscribe, favorite, and as always, this is TCT signing off. Have a great week, everybody. And if I don't get to talk to you again, happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Talk to you guys next time. Thank you. Goodbye.